'Twas the night before Christmas, and there was a little boy, to whom both football and cookies brought such a great joy. Though the outside was cold, the boy was okay, because tomorrow, yes, tomorrow, would be Christmas Day. As he tried to sleep soundly, he awoke to a noise. It must be Santa, he's bringing me toys. Down the stairs he flew, hoping to meet the jolly elf. But when he saw St. Nick, he couldn't believe it himself. Santa sat on the couch, the TV remote in his hand, screaming out, "The Patriots lost? Great, I'm down $1,000." The boy tried to hide, staying oh so discreet, but couldn't help but giggle when Santa called Joe Flacco elite. Like a flash of lightning, Santa turned his head and invited the boy over. And this is what he said. "Son, Santa needs some help. I'm growing too old. People find my NFL takes are growing too cold. See, child, there exists a secret sort of magic, but it's a dying art. Something that I find rather tragic. So I ask you a favor with some pretty high stakes. I need you to be the next one to bake my hot takes. So to this day I serve the old man's wish. I bake my hot takes with this show as my dish. Welcome back to the Hot Takery. Nolan Collery's my name. And thanks to old Santa, hot take baking's my game. Welcome to a place where the oven always glows. Tonight I'm joined by Joey David and Jeremy Rose. They'll listen to my delusion, take some time to digest, decide if my bakes are awful or some of my best. That's enough out of me, my yapping is done. Let's talk NFL football and maybe have some fun. So we're not even going to talk about players first, we're talking about coaches. We have seen more turnaround in both scheming and talent, not just on the field, but behind the clipboard, and it's coming from a generational gap. A new era of NFL coaches are upon us, both as coordinators and head coaches. Hires are getting younger and schemes are getting more complex. My first take of the evening, I think that if teams aren't hiring younger guys into the front office, they are setting themselves up to fail immediately. We're going to start with you, Jeremy. What do you think?
I mean, I think you're cooking with this one. Personally, you take a look at Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins. You take a look at Kellen Moore leading this Cowboys offense. Take a look at Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. All three of these guys, McVay as well, younger talents. Bill Belichick, obviously a very old head. His offense is absolutely struggling to some unknown extent right now. But yeah, it's these young guys, this turnover that's truly leading the way with the NFL. I think we have to, accept and embrace this new path that we're on. There's a lot of motion that's being really heavy in these new offenses, getting their faster guys into open space earlier in the clock, getting them ready, pre-snap and everything into open space, and that's changing the way that the game's being played, forcing defenses to shift. A lot of movement leads to a lot of confusion, and that's what it's going to have to be for the offenses to keep, dominating the way they have been over the past couple of years.
Nolan, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go back to watching the Food Network a little bit. I think you burned this one a little too much. I think the old guys are able to still adjust. I think what really comes with NFL coaches and the true best ones is you don't know their area of expertise. And obviously your area of expertise is not yet baking, but their area of expertise is football. And the ones that can work on offense, defense, special teams, put a little bit into everything, mix it all together, and make a beautiful pie. That is what makes a good NFL team. And that's what teams that are hottest right now, like the Baltimore Ravens, like the Dallas Cowboys, that's what they're doing right now. Their coaches are tenured, but they're learning how to work with other coaches that might be younger, that might have more natural schemes that fit today, and it's working. But then you look at teams like the Steelers, like the Jets, and the Steelers have Mike Tomlin, who's a tenured head coach. The Jets have Robert Saleh, not a tenured head coach. But the one thing they don't work on is their offense as much. Yes, Matt Canada got fired, but he was there for so long that you saw the struggles, and you see the struggles on the Jets. And that's what made these teams not work very well together, because they weren't a cohesive unit. And I feel like that's the most important thing about a head coach. They need to be cohesive, and they need to work together in order to have the best product show up on the NFL field.
I agree with you guys. I see where you're coming from, Joey. Obviously, you're wrong, but burning things like creme brulee, perhaps, that gives it, that hard top. You hit it with a spoon. You must not be familiar. Okay, so perfect segue. Maybe I was wrong before. Last time I came on the Hot Takery, I said that my team that I thought was going to regress in the AFC the most, the Miami Dolphins. Was I right? Am I going to admit that? No. I'm going to double down. This is them boys. These are the Cowboys of the AFC. This is last year's 10-2 Minnesota Vikings. This is them this year. This is easily a playoff team. I see a world that they end up getting a bye in the first round. No one's afraid of the Dolphins. If I am a team in the AFC and I see the Dolphins are my first matchup, I am ecstatic. I don't think they're going anywhere. Joey, what do you think?
Now, I agree with you, but it would be no fun if I just said, Nolan, I agree with you. So,
That would be cool, actually, but whatever.
no, it's fine. I don't like doing that.
Okay, cool,
So
cool.
I'm going to be the Grinch for a little bit. And I'm going to tell you why I think that they can do it. Because this Miami Dolphins team has a lot of great strengths. They have a lot of star power. They have great coaching, like we were talking about earlier, with Mike McDaniel, who schemes the offense very well. And he has Vic Fangio, who he works with to work with the defense. Now, the one thing I want to see work better on the defense is the run defense. Now, they may be top 10 in run defense, but they had Jalen Phillips all year, and he was garnering a lot of double teams. Now, that focus comes on to Christian Wilkins a lot more than it already did. He has 8 tackles for loss and 6.5 sacks on the year. So he is doing well, and he has been stepping up, especially ever since Jalen Phillips has gone down with the Achilles injury. But I need to see that work a little bit better, and once they have that and they have those abilities to win more, then they will be able to complement with the corners, complement with the rest of the team, and they'll end up beating these run-heavy teams that sit atop of the AFC.
You know, Nolan, I'm gonna have to hop on, on your train. Might we call it the Polar Express?
Oh, good
'tis
one.
the season. And say that I think the Dolphins are going absolutely nowhere. They're gonna get onto their train, heading towards the playoffs. They're gonna hit a lot of ice, and unlike the Polar Express, they're veering off and running straight into the
Crazy
mountain.
scene in the movie, by the way.
It
Can't
was-
believe they pulled that one off.
absolutely,
They had
absolutely.
children operating that train, but hey, whatever.
And there might be children operating the Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniel does appear to be a child at points in time.
Look at that.
But the main thing I want to hit on is Tua. When you take a look at Tua, you see he's playing with 2 of the fastest receivers in the NFL, the 2 fastest running backs in the NFL, yet you still look at him sometimes and he's underthrowing these receivers by 5 or 10 yards. And with Tyreek Hill or whatever, it doesn't really matter because he's going to come back to the ball and make 4 defenders miss and he'll score. But that's what you do when you're playing with the best weapons in one of the best systems in the NFL. But when it comes to the playoffs, it comes down to your star players, comes down to who can truly make it happen. And I don't think Tua's got the skills. He throws to almost 45% of his receivers are wide open on throws that he's making, yet he's completing under 60% of his passes. If you're throwing to that many wide open receivers, you should be completing upwards of 80% of those passes. That should not be an argument. If they're wide open, hit your target. When it's Tyreek Hill, you hit him in the wide open field, he's scoring a touchdown. You hit Devon A-Chain, he's scoring a touchdown. Mostert, touchdown. Waddle, touchdown. And hasn't shown that ability consistently throughout the season, and that's why the Dolphins are going straight into a mountain.
See, I agree with you guys. Isn't it so much cooler when you just agree with me? Like, this just moves so much
It's
smoother.
not as much fun.
Ah,
Just not
whatever.
as much fun.
So, during my time with Santa, he gave me one last piece of advice. When you're baking, you leave your hottest stuff for the last. That's what all great bakers do. And I am a great baker. I'm going to get into my most convoluted take of all time. This is a 3-layer take.
3.
So, Sunday Night Football, we had Eagles 49ers, which was, in my opinion, maybe the game of the year. Those are my top 2 teams in the league going into that game, and I figured that game would determine the outcome. My preconceived notion was correct. The 49ers looked incredible. I think that they are the best team in the league. That is not the take. This morning it was announced that Brock Purdy is the new MVP favorite. If I have a vote for MVP, I might give it to Brock Purdy. That's not my take because I'm giving him my second place vote. Folks, the NFL MVP is Christian McCaffrey. He is the best player on the best team. He's the most valuable player. I think the main reason it comes down to this, quarterback play has been poor this year. Jalen Hurts has had a very good season. Lamar Jackson has had a very good season. But outside of that, Mahomes is having a down year. Allen's having a lot of turnover issues. I think it's a running back year, and I think McCaffrey's the guy for the job. What do you think?
Yeah, you, like Joey has said, you burned this one. You burned it badly. You didn't creme brulee burn it. You left your turkey in the oven for 48 hours too long. Brock Purdy, while I agree McCaffrey has been an absolute demon this year, the 49ers are obviously one of the most legit teams that we've seen in a long time. I can't hate on Tua for having for working with some of the best weapons in the NFL and give Brock Purdy, the MVP trophy. He's running with Debo, he's running with Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, for God's sake. And I don't know, he plays once again in one of the best schemes with the Kyle Shanahan offense. And I don't see a world where he should be winning the MVP over some of these other quarterbacks who are playing with potentially worse schemes, having to do more from game to game, and not just being able to, throw a screen, dump it off to McCaffrey in the flats for wide open touchdowns and let him kind of do his thing. And yeah, I don't got Brock Purdy.
I don't either, Nolan. I'm going 0 for 3 on you today. I'm sorry. Maybe there's a Christmas miracle and it works for you. But if you want to talk about a real Christmas miracle, this is going to be the hottest take I ever have in PSSN history.
Wow.
Dak Prescott's winning the MVP this year. Yes, I'm crazy. Cool me off. But I think it's just crazy enough where it might happen. Dak Prescott has done very well this season, and he's done it well with a resurgence. Kellen Moore has really helped him out, and he's throwing less picks, which has always been an issue for Dak. He's thrown 6 so far on the year, where usually he only throws around the 10-minute mark, the 10 interception mark. But where it comes to Dak this year, he's thrown 6. 3 of them were in one game.
Yeah.
So with that, Dak has been able to find his stars without a running game and do very well. So I think Dak Prescott, if he continues to win and goes over 500, he will win MVP this season.
Well, fortunately, I'm very close friends with Santa. I know you guys aren't getting anything this year now. That's all the time we have for this year. I hope our takes could bring you some cheer. As the nights grow colder and the ground becomes snowy, I'd like to thank my dear friends, Jeremy and Joey. That's all from Nolan Collery. As I fade out of sight, happy holidays to all, and to all a good night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.